Hi all. In this video session, we'll talk about how we are going to create Keyspace in the Grakn database. So far, in the earlier sessions, we talk about the Grakn database introduction and the Grakn database architecture. So basically, we talk more on Grakn architecture, where we have different components within the Grakn database, like GraphQL and Grakn. So GraphQL engine basically using for processing the the SQL statements to fetch the data and the storing of data into the Grakn database, and the Grakn component basically using for storage purpose. And within that Grakn component, we have different Apache component libraries. So where all libraries are participating to perform the partitioning and replication part of database, as well as the file system management for scale up on network to perform different operations on Grakn database. So in this video session, we'll talk about how we are going to create a new key space within the Grakn database. Okay. So for this, I will just again go to the command prompt where we need to start, the Grakn database. Let us say like how placed this Grakn setup in D drive. This is in C drive Grakn core, and here you need to start Grakn server. This is this command. Oops, Grakn server start, so that it will start the Grakn database, so that we'll see the Grakn REST web API in the browser. So what are all the entities and attributes and key spaces so far it has been created in the Grakn database. So once it is up and run, and we'll just browse this now the Grakn's database using 4567 port number. As I told you in the earlier session, this was the default server port number. It is binding for the Grakn database, and if you want that change it to be another different port number, you can change it. That is as per user convenience. So for that, as I told you, like go to this Grakn setup, and we have a config folder. In this Grakn properties file, we have default properties, and if you look at this property regarding this port number, so we have like so server.port. This is the default property which defaultly configured for Grakn database in your machine. So by default, it is taking this port number. If you want to change it to some other different port number which is being connecting to your the system, then you can change it here and save this Grakn properties file. Then it automatically reflects the Grakn database, right? So now, so I have started my Grakn database. Now it has been started, and just go to here and just type localhost 456, and then it will start your Grakn UI. This is what the UI of Grakn database. So far we have different key spaces here: phone calls and phone call a Grakn test model demo. These are the different databases we have within this the Grakn database. Now I just want to create a new database, that is new key space here. So the terminology of database here will be calling as a key space, and the table has been calling as an entity, and the columns has been calling as an attributes. Okay. Please note that these are the terminologies that have been put up on this Grakn database with respect to the data science, machine learning, and natural language processing. So we have to be calling these things as it is. Like if you look at the database concepts, relational database management. So initially it was being referred as an entity, and within that entity we have different attributes, and within these attributes and entities we'll be having constraints and relationships and roles, right? So similar thing we are calling it here, right? So how we are going to create our own key space here, right? So go to your command, and you need to enter into the console part, because the commands are being executed on the Grakn console, right? So GraphQL console -k. This is the the option to specify the key space, and whatever the key space you are specifying it here, that key space is being created, right? So I'm specifying here my key space is the sample. Okay, and also I need to specify the structure of my database entities. Like, so I'm just opening this schema for this. So I'm going to create this entities, some of the entities for this sample key space with entity called company, and this is what person. Okay, I'm just defining my entities as person and company. So person, and it has different properties: first name, last name, and phone number, city, age. So is customer. These are the attributes, and these are the roles. Okay, and for the company, I have a name attribute, and this provider is the role. Okay, so here define is the major keyword which is being used for creating entities and relations and constraints, right? So if you look at this person, it has these attributes and it has these rules. And when it comes to company, it has one attribute, and this is role. So please note that. So if you want to specify any attribute, you need to specify with has keyword. This is the sub is the result keyword, and this is the keyword to specify the kind of entity or attribute or relation. Okay. So now, if you look at this contract, this is the relationship, because this is the relationship I mentioned, and that relates to provider and relates to customer. And this is call is another relationship that relates to caller and calling, and it has two attributes, like started at duration. Okay, and coming to here down, we need to specify the categories of data types. Name sub attribute, it is a string data type, and started at sub attribute, it is data type of date, and duration, which I will mention for the call entity. This data type is long, and first name is again string, and last name is again string. So like that, you need to specify all the attribute data type here. So this is the complete schema to create sample entities like called person, company, and this call and contract. These are the entities of my sample key space. Okay, so I'm just copying this path, like so D drive something doc scheme. Okay, I'm just going to D drive and have drive uh, training 2000. Okay, here I have my schema. I'm just copying this path. Okay, and go to this command prompt and space. I'm specifying my GQL statement. Okay, so after specifying this key space name as sample, and the schema has this one, this is going to be takes the schema from this GQL file. That means the explained scenario file, like this person and company, and within this again call as a relationship and contract as a relationship. These four entities are being created. Okay. After mentioning this, you just hit the enter button. Oops, what it is? Crackle is not recognized. Okay, I'll remove this. So just hit the enter button. It says mine and key space is valid. Okay. I'm just specifying double quotes and hitting enter. So now again enter. Oh, can also not be longer than 48 characters. Escape. Grakn keys cannot be started with number and can only be lowercase containing. Oh, so as I told you, this Grakn database has been developed on Java platform. So we should be the taking care of the namings which you are giving for any entity or any the key space name here. Okay, I'm just hitting enter again. So it takes some time to create the key space and then creating entities, because it has to create first key space called a sample here, and then it has to look at the schema, and it will start creating of person and company, and then creating these relations. So it takes a couple of time. Yeah, it was done now. So if you look at the output here, it is going to be displaying empty curly braces. That means it has been created very successfully. Okay, how we are going to verify that? Now again, go back to your Grakn database and just refresh the URL, and clicking on this, you will see here sample, right? Got it. So if you select this database here and go to here types, and as I told you, we have created two entities, right? Company and person, and two relations. What are those? Call and contract, right? And if you're clicking on this attributes, we have these many attributes: first name, last name, duration, city, age, phone number, start date, and is customer. So these are the attributes which we have mentioned here, right? So these are the attribute: first name, last name, phone number, city, age, is customer, and this is one more attribute, and these two are another attributes. So when you're clicking on this, it shows you all attributes in the database, this key space. Sorry, okay. So it's not about a single entity; it is going to be show all entities attributes. Okay, if you just clicking on this, it shows you the Grakn UI, right? Like this. Okay, this is what my person entity. Okay, it has attributes these blue, you can see this blue color thing, last name, first name, and again it has, okay, this is company, another attribute, another entity, sorry, and it has a name attribute. If you can put it here, it will tell you like what it is. Okay, and this is the relationship type between this, company and person. And again, one more relationship is caller, right? This is one more relationship between person and uh, again, within this person, this is the call. Okay, it has two attributes: duration and start date. Okay, so this is how your Grakn DB is showing the semantic format of your entities list. Okay, if you have a data, then it will displays the data at right side. Like so far, we don't have any data on these entities. Okay, person has attributes. These are the attributes. You just look at here right side. Person has attributes: age, city, first name, is customer, last name, phone number. And company has only one attribute, and contract have, this relationship, and one more here. This is another relationship which has duration and started it. Okay, so this is all about how we are going to create this database, the key space in the Grakn DB, right? Now, if you want to remove, the Grakn DB key space, so we have a command. Again, go to the Grakn console -k sample, then it enter into the Grakn console with connecting to the key space, that particular key space, because we may have different databases. So if you apply any command on the console, so it has to be apply on some key space, right? So what that key space by default. So if you are not specifying it here, it will take it as Grakn. If you are specifying specifically -k some key space name, then it will connect to that sample key space, and it applies all the commands which you are typing and executing on the console to that particular key space. So if you want to remove the key space architecture, structure of all entities and attributes and relations, we have a command that is clean. If you type the clean command, it will give you some suggestion confirmation informative message saying that this will clean all data in the current key space and immediately commit type confirm to continue. If you type confirm and press enter, it removes everything in the key space. Okay. So far, I will not do that because we have to do some more samples on the database. So this is what the basic commands of creation of key space and cleaning of key space. Okay. So this is what the GraphQL console command prompt. So if you want to come out from this GraphQL command, the console command prompt, just type exit and hit the enter. it comes from exit. It will come out from that prompt. Okay, so this is all about the creation of Grakn and removing of Grakn database. I hope you understand the basic steps to create key space and entity creations and relation creations and the syntax of the schema. So uh, for remaining part, we'll look at later sessions like how we are going to post data and how we are going to return the attribute list different from graph and console. This is what the console. And if you want to do a query like for the person, we have to give this is the command match $x is a person and get if hit this button. So actually we don't have data, that's why it is showing no rails found for your query. Okay, if you have a data, then it will display the data. Okay, so this is what about how we are going to fetch the data. So I hope you understand the basic commands of creation of key space and the cleaning of key space. So please subscribe this to YouTube channel for more videos on Grakn database. Thank you.